So I recently played a game of 40K with a friend of mine who brought a list stuffed with a certain battle line unit that up until now I had completely ignored. Boy, was that a mistake. So today we're going to take a closer look at them. Sometimes you think you know your codex, and sometimes your buddy Justin just completely blows your mind. That's exactly what happened to me, and that's what inspired this analysis. So grab yourself a bevy, because it's story time. Before we go any further, I just want to get the noobs up to speed. My name's Blake, and I've written a custom program that takes an attacking unit and a defending unit, and then simulates the attack between them a million times. That's the data we're going to be looking at today. Let's get started.
And this one, there's a story in this one.
So I wanted to do an episode on Heavy Intercessors.
Heavy Intercessors.
Because this is a unit that I have largely ignored until I played a couple of games with a friend of mine who took like 30 or 40 of these in a single list.
Ooh.
And it was wild. So a lot of the information and the inspiration for this episode comes from my friend Justin. Thank you, Justin. And yeah, so I actually want to start out by showing you guys a couple of pictures.
Yeah, so what is it that happened?
So I played a game with Justin, and he brought 40 Heavy Intercessors.
Was this in a tournament?
No, we were just at a game shop. And he was playing them in, Firestorm Assault, which I was not expecting. But it meant that all of his bolters within 12 inches got an extra pip of strength. So he had a bunch of strength 6 damage 2 bolters.
Okay, wait a second. So Heavy Intercessors have normally a strength 5 bolter already?
Yeah.
And then because you picked Firestorm Assault, you get +1 strength if you're within 12 inches?
Yeah. So suddenly, I was finding that he was able to focus down my dreadnoughts with bolter fire.
Wow.
Which, because with Oath of Moment, he was wounding on 4s. And I was like, oh.
What chapter is that, if I may?
He's got a custom chapter.
They look kind of raptular.
They look kind of raptorish, yeah.
Cool. And did he beat you?
I beat him, but he killed a lot of my models. So like I won on points, but I didn't have very much left at the end of this.
Okay, well, I feel like my very next question here is what's the full profile of Heavy Intercessor so that I can grasp the gravity of this, but I feel like you're about to tell me anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. I actually kind of wanted you to go in cold because when I first saw this list, I was like, what? And then when things started dying, I was like, what?
I feel like I never hear people talk about Heavy Intercessors.
Yeah, I agree. And I suddenly wonder if people might be sleeping on them a little bit.
Sleeping on top of them.
He made them mainline damage dealers, but what I was really impressed with
Mainline damage
dealers.
Sorry.
But what I was really impressed with was just how freaking hard they were to remove.
Because they're tougher than a regular Space Marine. They're not just shooty.
Exactly.
Okay.
They are, and they have OC2, so like he was just stealing objectives left and right, and I was like, I can't kill you fast enough.
Wow, that's so cool.
It was really cool. Here's another one with Justin in the background.
I know Justin. I met him.
Yeah, you met him.
That's right.
And
he's a really cool guy.
You can see at this point in the battle, I have very few models remaining.
Yeah, I actually see only 4. 5
I've got a cluster of them over here that were being aggressive. There were a couple hiding behind this box, some in my backfield, and I had one ballistas left over because he was too far away to focus him down with the bolters.
I like this terrain, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And it's all foldable.
That's pretty sweet.
I'm sure people have seen this, but this folds away into a tiny box. It was really convenient. And it looks pretty good for what it is.
I can't wait till we can start rolling out our terrain, bro.
I can't wait for people to start seeing our terrain.
Okay, so I'm working on a thing. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit.
Actually, all of our patrons have seen it.
All the patrons have seen it. At least the first couple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's the deal with Heavy Intercessors. They only move 5, but they're in Gravis armor. So they're toughness 6 with a 3-up save and 3 wounds.
Okay, so 2 extra pips of toughness and an extra wound and an extra OC.
Yeah. And they have heavy bolt rifles instead of standard bolt rifles. So they're assault and heavy, 2 attacks hitting on 3, strength 5, AP 1, damage 2.
Dude.
But to see them at damage 2 and strength 5 is pretty significant. And then there's 1 heavy bolter in the squad as well.
Right, which normally shines more than it does here.
Yeah, that's true. But actually, the heavy bolt rifles are very similar to the heavy.
They're very
bolter.
barely. They're one extra. The heavy bolter has an extra attack and sustained hits. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Wow. They're a bunch of dudes almost walking around with heavy bolters.
But here's the other thing. They are 100 points for 5 models or 200 points for 10. And they have the special rule, unyielding in the face of the foe. While this unit is within range of an objective marker you control, each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to a model in this unit, add 1 to any armor saving throw made against that attack.
Wow. So against a damage 1 attacks, they're Terminators.
Yeah.
They're literally, except for the invulnerable save, they're literally Terminators against damage 1 attacks.
Yeah. For 100 points for 5 of them.
Holy butts!
And with better shooting than Terminators.
Oh!
Yeah. And
Justin was on to something.
So I played 2 games with Justin, or if he had a similar kind of list, and in both of them, I was blown away by how effective these guys were. So when it comes to the Heavy Intercessors, you have a couple of character options. You can take an Apothecary Biologist for 70 points. He gives them lethal hits, and then if they kill something in melee, he becomes OC9. But I don't think they're going to kill anything in melee.
Yeah, what a hilarious thing to... Yeah.
You can give them a Captain in Gravis armor so that you can get cheaper strats, and he actually has quite a bit of melee might for 80 points. Not bad. Iron Father Pharaohs. Iron Father Pharaohs.
Not Iron again. They're like, his name isn't Iron Father Iron. That would be too silly.
Right. So, of course, he's Iron Hands only, but he's lone op if he's within 3 inches of a vehicle. He grants a 5-up Feel No Pain, which can make them a bit more durable. I probably would be more tempted to put him somewhere else. So you got some options, but I don't think most of these options are great for what they do, because what I really felt like they were great at doing was just not dying on an objective and still shooting at things that were somewhat far away.
Right. Wow, that's a lot of options, though. I'm surprised. There's a lot of Gravis. Are these actually wearing Gravis armor? Obviously, Captain in Gravis armor is.
Yeah, Apothecary Biologist, yes.
He's actually wearing...
This version of Marnius Calgar.
Oh, right. There's 2 versions.
You can only take one.
Both versions. Okay, so he counts. Okay.
Yeah.
That would be very silly.
I want to say Torgaradon is in Terminator armor, but I'm probably wrong about that since he pairs with this squad.
Right. Wow. I did not realize these variants of Space Marine armor was so thoroughly developed between like Phobos and Gravis, and what else is there? I don't know.
Phobos, Gravis, and Tacticus. I feel like Games Workshop was trying to make the Gravis armor into sort of like Primaris Terminators, but lacking the 2-up save and the invuln makes them
a big difference.
Well, it just makes them very different. They're tough against different things. Yeah.
And they also realize that Terminators are irreplaceable and iconic.
Yeah, they probably always knew that. Actually, early on, they were probably trying to replace it, and they're like, nah, these are fan faves. We can't get rid of this.
Crotch Terminatus.
And then, in terms of detachments, there are a lot of detachments that these guys work well in. You can put them in Gladius. You can give them Storm of Fire to ignore cover and plus it 1 AP in Devastator Doctrine. And always just ignore cover, which they're going to love with their AP1 weapons.
Right. Nice.
In Anvil Siege Force, they get +1 to wound and shooting if they remain stationary. And if they remain stationary since they're heavy, they also get +1 to hit. For Battle Drill Recalls, you can give them sustained 1s and criticals on 5s if they're stationary.
And since they're heavy, they could double up with that.
Yeah, the Anvil Siege Force really benefits models that are staying stationary and shooting, especially if they're bolters.
Right. So, and the Anvil Siege Force is the Imperial Fists themed one.
Yeah.
That's the yellow guy. Darnath.
Yeah.
Darnath.
Right. I would say this is his detachment, but as we already discussed, he has
his own brand new thing.
You can play No Threat Too Great on them for reroll wounds versus vehicles and monsters, which is going to be really, really useful. Ooh. And Hail of Vengeance for 2 CP so that you can return fire if one of your models died. But again, they're not really mainline damage dealers.
Hail of Vengeance! Where's that one?
Right here.
It's a stratagem in the Anvil Siege Force.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they can return fire if one of their models dies, but since they're not a mainline Since they're not a Daneline damage dealer.
We don't have to make that a thing, but I do love it.
In Firestorm Assault, which is where I saw them, they're +1 strength within 12 inches.
Damn,
Which
that's
is awesome.
swizzle.
Which is awesome. Which is awesome. Yeah. Or you can give them +1 to wound against something within 6 inches. If they're not already your Oath of Moment target. Which I think could be really useful for them sometimes.
Wow. And Firestorm Assault is
there's a stratagem that gives them sustained 1s, which could be useful. In Vanguard Spearhead, they're -1 to hit and get cover if your opponent is outside of 12 inches. And you can use Strikes from the Shadows so that if you're shooting from beyond 12 inches, then you get +1 ballistic skill and +1 AP.
Wow, okay.
That's pretty useful.
Yeah.
And in Wrath of the Rock, they're -1 to wound if something's attacking them with greater strength than their toughness, which really doubles down on what they do. And if you play Relic of the Dark Age, you can give them +2 strength on their bolters, so strength 7 bolters. So now they could actually reach toughness 12 vehicles and be somewhat meaningful.
Oh my God. Wrath the Rock. What's the motif of that? Is that a particular chapter that
playing? That's for Dark Angels.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that most Dark Angels players are playing.
Gotcha.
So again, there are a lot of detachments where this works, but there are a number of detachments that I think especially support them well.
Wow. I could see how they caught you off guard.
Yeah, I just wasn't expecting it. Especially in that detachment. I was like, wait, that's the Flamer detachment, right?
Oh, yeah, because +1 strength if within 12 inches is meaningful if you have lots of Flamers.
That's the Salamander themed detachment.
Gotcha. Oh, Justin was getting creative.
Yeah.
I love hearing when people create, a strategy or a method that is sort of, I don't know, that's what's so great about like the non-super competitive part of Warhammer, when people are like, I made a weird thing, let's try it out. Ha ha!
I love
deal with
those
all these heavy intercessors. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, especially with that special rule, because +1 armor save against things that are damage 1. I have so many chain swords.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, and you comment for the comment god. Thank you. All right. And then in terms of their durability, I wanted to kind of compare them to some other things that I think fit a similar role. So in this first column, I have regular intercessors and then Blade Guard veterans, because I think Blade Guard veterans are also often used to sit on objectives because they're relatively durable.
Right.
Frequently, Blade Guard veterans will come inside of an impulsor, which comes with the advantage that you can disembark your Blade Guards, have them go somewhere and deal with stuff while you leave the impulsor on the objective.
That's pretty cool.
And then heavy intercessors, just standard, and then also heavy intercessors when they're on an objective. So they're getting their special rule bonus. And you can see against laser guns, bolt guns, master crafted power weapons, heavy bolters, and plasma, if they're not overcharged, the heavy intercessors on the objective are just way more durable than everything else.
And the being on the objective does what for them again? Sorry.
+1 to their armor save if it's against a damage 1 weapon.
Oh, so they have to be on an objective and the damage of the weapon has to be 1. I didn't catch that it was both of those.
Yeah, they have to be both. But they want to sit on an objective. I feel like that's where they're really useful.
Right. That's where you're trying to put them. Okay. Yeah. And they're outperforming in all of those. There's only one category they didn't win.
Yeah. There's only one category they didn't win. If they're not on an objective, though, I mean, they're still tougher than the other options in most of these cases. Yeah, actually, I think in all of these first cases, they're still tougher than Blade Guard and Intercessors.
That's amazing.
They do cost a few more points, though.
20 more points.
You're going to start seeing, like, once you get to high AP weapons, though, the Blade Guard really start doing much better because they have the invulnerable save.
Right, that makes a big difference, we learned.
And the Impulsor actually does really well also, but the Impulsor obviously doesn't do any damage when it's sitting on the objective. So I did this again, and then we corrected for points, where I essentially did how many shots how many hits is required to take them down for 100 points worth of models.
Okay, so we're going to see, since the heavy intercessors were already 100 points worth, their numbers should stay the same. Everybody else's is going to be adjusted upwards, as if they had an extra 20 points worth of that unit on
exactly
board. Got it.
So you can see, like, we still get a really, really similar outcome. The Impulsor does better against bolters,
Hmm.
which makes sense because it's toughness 9.
Right.
But even then, like you can still see the heavy intercessors are way tougher against everything except for the high AP, high strength weapons.
Right.
So, for instance, the blade guards start doing better against things like laser cannons and macroplasma supercharged. I did take a Redemptor Dreadnought in both of those games I played against Justin, and wow, the Redemptor was really pulling its weight.
Really?
I mean, it died way faster than I expected, but it has an ideal profile for killing heavy intercessors.
Yeah. Strength 9, AP 4, damage die 3.
No, damage 3. So it just flat kills them.
Oh, and that's where a 5-up Feel No Pain would have eradicated that problem.
Yeah. Probably would have made them more than twice as effective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so sick.
You got it. So I think this is where they really shine because for the points, they are really hard to remove.
Mm-hmm.
And against small arms, which is what you typically want to use to clear objectives, not effective hardly at all. Which means if you want to remove them, you have to actually dedicate some real shooting to them, which you probably want to dedicate somewhere else. Or if you don't, it still means you have to expose something.
Right.
You have to expose something that's really good at killing stuff to remove this 100-point unit.
Wow, that's a brilliant point. If you're gonna have to roll out your big guns enough to see them.
Right. Because oftentimes my plan is to kill my opponent's chaff with my chaff. And especially as a Blood Angels player, I'm usually really good at that.
Right, right. All your strength 6 attacks.
I could not do that against these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was only wounding on 4s. you know,
Right.
with my +2 strength. And then I had effectively no AP.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so awesome. That's brilliant.
So I still want to look at their offensive capabilities. Their guns are pretty mean, but again, they're only going to have 5 or 10 of them in a squad, depending.
How many were in this match that you played with Justin?
In the first match, he brought 40. In the second match, he brought 30.
Oh, man.
There were so many heavy intercessors.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was bringing big blocks of 10.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Before we wrap up this analysis, we just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much to all the patrons. We love doing this work, but this is not a very lucrative career. It is the patron support that helps us keep the lights on and keep the studio running. So if you want to see more content just like this, join our Patreon, become part of our Discord, join the War Council, and help us out with your faction expertise. It'll help keep the lights on and help us come out with great new episode ideas. And if not that, just give us a like and subscribe or give us a comment. All those things help us out a ton. So anyway, thank you so much for your support, and let's go ahead and get back to it. Okay, so these are groups of 5 intercessors, and the reason I'm doing that is because I feel like there are some detachments where you can build around them and build 10-man blocks. I personally would be really tempted by 5-man squads. I wanted to compare them to some regular intercessors. And these regular intercessors, I'm assuming, are shooting all into one target. So each one of them is going to get 4 shots.
Okay.
So regular intercessors are going to do about 4 kills to orc boys between 3 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy intercessors will do about 3 kills between 2 and 4.
Because they're damaged 2 weapons.
They're damaged 2 weapons, and they get half as many shots, basically.
Right, right.
But if you give them Divergent Oath of Moment, so rerolling hits but not +1 to wound, now you're killing about 4.5 between 3 and 5, so really similar to regular intercessors.
Divergent Oath of Moment is superior to
not Oath of Moment, yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
The
last
first one had
was
no
no
Oath
Oath
of
of Moment. So now they've got it.
And
This
if you
is
give
with
them
Divergent.
Yeah, and if you give them +1 to wound, so you have compliant Oath of Moment, then they're going to be killing about 6 orc boys between 5 and 7.
Okay.
So it does make a difference. I will say one of the reasons I'm doing this comparison this way is because I don't feel like their damage is the main thing. So I probably would not be tempted to specifically target things with Oath of Moment with them, personally. If you're targeting the Oath of Moment thing, great. But if not, it's a couple more boys.
Right.
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 All right. So if we go into something that they like shooting a little bit more, like intercessors.
Right. That's the strength 6, damage 2 is like, okay.
Regular intercessors will kill like 2 intercessors between 1 and
shooting.
2 in
Right.
shooting. Heavy intercessors will kill about 2.5 between 2 and 4.
Okay.
If you give them Oath of Moment and you are Divergent Chapter, then you're going to kill like 3.5 between 2 and 5. And with compliant Oath of Moment, you're going to kill like 4.5 between 3 and 5.
Yeah, these numbers aren't like mind-boggling yet.
Yeah, again, and that's not the point.
That's not their point.
You are going to see that like they are still performing similarly well to regular intercessors, and in fact, against other intercessors, they're doing better than intercessors would. I just said intercessors so many times in a row. And if we have them going into Terminators, regular intercessors are killing like a third of a Terminator.
A third of one Terminator.
Yeah, regular intercessors don't kill Terminators, but heavy intercessors kill like almost a half a Terminator.
Almost half.
And with Oath of Moment, Divergent Oath of Moment, they're killing like 2/3 of one.
Oh man, that's starting to get tasty.
And with Compliant Oath of Moment, they almost kill one.
Ah, yes, between 0 and 1.
Between 0 and 1. I decided not to go into any heavier targets in this because the point is they're going to provide some ship damage, some pretty decent ship damage at range.
Right.
But mostly they're sitting on your objective, popping off a couple extra models here and there.
Right.
Yeah. Again, I did not extend this to 10-man squads with characters. You could beef them up in some of these detachments so that they can actually do some damage.
And that's part of what Justin did. He put them in Firestorm Assault so they get Strength 6, which was a critical threshold.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
If you get to Strength 6, you suddenly now, as you said, you can reach up to Strength 11.
Right.
And get at least wounding on 5s.
Right. So you're not going to be wounding the heaviest things in the game, but against, for instance, all of my dreadnoughts, that worked out pretty well because I love running dreadnoughts that are all T10.
And yeah. Damn.
And they have a lot of different things that can give them access to +1 AP in a lot of detachments too, which is going to make a big difference.
Yeah. Wow, dude. Okay.
So you can combo these up, but I think the average player is probably going to be more interested in running these in 5s just to hold on to an objective and be really annoying.
Really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here are the takeaways. Heavy intercessors are way more durable than anything else in this category that are trying to accomplish this task.
Right.
So I really like them. As you mentioned, against small arms, they're essentially Terminators for a little more than half the price.
For small arms and if they're on an objective.
And if they're on an objective.
They're basically Terminators.
They're really happy to sit on an objective. And one of the reasons why I think this is useful is because I usually have a couple of units whose job it is to run onto an objective and just hold it and not do anything else. Just sit on that freaking objective.
And it's nice if they can advance and still shoot, like if they have assault weapons like the heavy intercessors have. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and intercessors have that. But I'm just thinking compared to like the scouts and the assault intercessors I use.
They just evaporate.
Or Blade Guard who have to leave the point in order to actually attack something. These guys can just sit there, hold the objective, and actually contribute meaningfully to the damage of those units.
Yeah.
So you're not tempted to walk away. Because so often I'll be sitting there and my opponent is just like, do you want these?
You want these?
And as a Blood Angels player, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want it. Exactly. They have way more OC than Blade Guard. So a squad of Blade Guard has 3 OC collectively. They have 10. So it's just way harder to take away objectives. Also, if your opponent has some smaller units on objectives, you can just stand on it, take the objective, and even if you don't kill your opponent, it's fine.
You can quickly disrupt their grip.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Wow.
The other thing is I was looking at the deployment maps that are used in Pariah Nexus. Is that where we are? I'm trying to remember. The current tournament maps that are used.
We're in the Snicklefritz Maledictum.
Yeah. And what I've noticed is that the vast majority of those deployments have the No Man's Land objective a little bit more than 5 inches away from your deployment zone.
Okay.
Which means in 6 out of those 8 deployment maps, if you advance at all, you're guaranteed to get on the objective first turn.
Wow. Assuming you put them on the line.
Which you probably will, or
on
pretty
the line
close
of
to
scrimmage.
it. Mm-hmm. There are 2 of those maps where the deployment zone is a little bit less than 8 inches, which means you have to roll a 3 in order to get onto an objective with your advance. I personally feel like
you're not talking about the center of the objective. You're talking about
just touch it so you can grab it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is probably one of their biggest drawbacks. Most of the time, you can guarantee that you can get onto the objective first turn, because if you're using them the way that I imagine they need to be used, They're sprinting for an objective.
Mhm.
But on 2 of those maps, you're going to have to get a 3 on your advance roll to get them on there. Whereas any of your other Marines would only need a 2 to advance, which means they are twice as likely to fail to get onto that objective if you're using any other, 6-inch move infantry for that purpose.
Twice as likely to fail on a third of the maps.
On a quarter of the maps, yeah.
On a quarter of the maps.
Yeah.
So, net total effect. What's
Yeah.
the combined, what's the index there?
I don't think you can just look at the averages, though, because a lot of Warhammer is about threshold effects.
Right.
Yeah. So in this case, I feel like you're totally fine most of the time. And sometimes you're like, damn it. Do I have to spend my very first CP on a reroll to get onto an objective?
Oof.
And that is frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe come with some backups. I'm actually really curious because even as a Blood Angels player, I find these guys interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the point where I don't know if I'd be willing to just like throw this in my tournament list, but I think I want to throw it in a squad and just see how they do. Because I usually have at least one objective where I feel like I just want to throw on something heavy and just like have them try and hold it.
Right. So having just that one profile out and a profile that was a little bit weird and hard to deal with, brilliant work.
Yeah, basically he just exposed these guys and vehicles. So I had no optimal targets. I had no other squishy things for all of my chainswords to go into. I just had to deal with it.
Yeah, actually that was probably one of the bigger lessons I think I got from you was like with regards to exposing your units, just expose all of one type sort of defensive profile at the same time. That way you can confuse the optimal guns. That really, I was like, okay, locked in. Well done, Justin.
Well, with that, Justin's a baller.
Heavy intercessors are better
Old
than
man
you
hands is a sexy biatch.
Heavy intercessors are better than you think, and you're probably sleeping on them.
Mm-hmm. So with that, let's go paint some minis, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna paint some more of my old school guys.
Painting time. All right.
Yeah.
Bye guys. Bye.
Thank you for watching another episode of Warhammer Math.
For the Emperor!